The Devil in the Pines. In the heart of the Pine Barrens, New Jersey, a legend has haunted the locals for generations. The Jersey Devil, a creature born from the darkness of the forest and the fears of those who lived nearby, was said to roam the shadowy depths of the woods, its piercing cries echoing through the night. As the years went by, sightings of the creature became less frequent, and the tales of the Jersey Devil were relegated to the realm of folklore and superstition. Caleb Lewis, a 28-year-old freelance journalist, had been captivated by the legend of the Jersey Devil since he was a child. Growing up in a small town on the outskirts of the Pine Barrens, he had heard countless stories of the creature's sightings and the terror it had inflicted upon those who dared to venture too deep into the forest. Though the legend of the Jersey Devil had been dismissed as nothing more than a myth by most, Caleb couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story than met the eye. When a series of unexplained events began to plague the Pine Barrens, livestock mutilations, strange footprints, and a resurgence of eerie cries in the night, Caleb saw an opportunity to revive the legend and potentially make a name for himself as a journalist. Determined to uncover the truth behind the Jersey Devil, he decided to embark on a journey into the heart of the Pine Barrens, armed with little more than his camera, a voice recorder, and an unwavering sense of curiosity. Caleb enlisted the help of his childhood friend, Sam, a local park ranger who knew the Pine Barrens like the back of his hand. Sam, a skeptic by nature, was hesitant to indulge in Caleb's obsession with the Jersey Devil but agreed to accompany him in the interest of ensuring his safety. The two friends set out into the forest on a cool autumn day, the crisp air heavy with the scent of decaying leaves and damp earth. As they ventured deeper into the Pine Barrens, the dense foliage seemed to close in around them, and the oppressive silence of the forest was punctuated only by the distant cawing of crows and the occasional rustle of leaves beneath their feet. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, the shadows cast by the gnarled trees grew longer and more sinister, and the temperature dropped noticeably. Caleb and Sam made camp for the night, settling in near the edge of a small clearing. As they huddled around the flickering light of their campfire, the two friends couldn't help but feel a sense of unease in the darkening woods. The night was quiet, the usual sounds of nocturnal creatures conspicuously absent. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to break the silence. Caleb and Sam exchanged uneasy glances, trying to dismiss the growing sense of dread that seemed to seep into their bones. In the early hours of the morning, their uneasy slumber was shattered by the piercing sound of a scream echoing through the forest, a sound unlike any they had ever heard before. The cry was guttural and unearthly, and it sent chills down their spines. As they scrambled to their feet, hearts pounding, they knew that they had to find the source of the scream. With their flashlights casting trembling beams of light through the darkness, they followed the haunting cries deeper into the Pine Barrens. The further they ventured, the more disoriented they became, the once familiar trails now twisting and turning in ways they had never experienced before. As fear began to grip their minds, the line between reality and imagination started to blur. As dawn approached, Caleb and Sam stumbled upon a small, dilapidated shack hidden amongst the trees. The structure seemed to defy the passage of time, its walls covered in thick layers of moss and vines, as if the forest was trying to reclaim it. They hesitated, unsure if they should investigate further, but the lure of uncovering the truth behind the Jersey Devil was too strong to resist. With trepidation, they pushed open the rotting door, revealing a room filled with strange artifacts and ominous symbols painted on the walls. In the center of the room, they found a large, leather-bound book, its pages yellowed with age and covered in cryptic writing. As Caleb carefully leafed through the ancient tome, a sense of dread washed over him. It became clear that the shack had once been a place of dark rituals and forbidden knowledge, with the book serving as a link between the human world and something far more sinister. Suddenly, the haunting cries that had led them to the shack resumed, louder and more chilling than before. The atmosphere in the room grew heavy, and the shadows cast by their flashlights began to writhe and twist as if alive. Caleb and Sam exchanged panicked glances, realizing that they had stumbled upon something they could not comprehend, something that was beyond their control. The darkness outside the shack seemed to close in around them, and they could hear the sound of branches snapping and leaves rustling as something approached. Gripped by terror, they braced themselves for the inevitable confrontation with the legendary creature that had haunted their dreams since childhood. As the door to the shack burst open, the Jersey Devil emerged from the shadows, its eyes burning with an otherworldly glow. Its body was a grotesque amalgamation of various creatures, with the head of a horse, the wings of a bat, and the twisted limbs of a goat. The sight of the beast was enough to make the bravest soul cower in fear, its very existence defying the laws of nature. Caleb and Sam found themselves paralyzed, unable to look away from the horrifying visage of the creature that now stood before them. The Jersey Devil regarded them with a malevolent gaze, as if peering into the depths of their souls, before letting out another blood-curdling scream that shook the very foundations of the shack. In that moment, Caleb and Sam knew that they had to escape, to flee from the nightmare that had come to life before their eyes. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they mustered the strength to break free from their paralysis and raced back through the forest, the cries of the Jersey Devil echoing in their ears. As they burst from the tree line, lungs burning and hearts pounding, they knew that they had narrowly escaped with their lives. But the encounter with the Jersey Devil would forever change them, leaving them with a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay hidden in the shadows of the Pine Barrens. From that day forward, Caleb and Sam dedicated their lives to researching and documenting the countless legends and supernatural occurrences that haunted the world. As they sought to unravel the mysteries that had once terrified them, they would come to understand that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are not the ones that lurk in the shadows but the ones that dwell within the human heart.